Terry, what's your pick this month? This
Well,
show.
I will now offer you an old people's show.
I get my wheelchair out, huh?
Yeah. I have a particular interest in the well-made American plays of the 30s and 40s, which were really knocked off the stage by the coming of Tennessee Williams and Arthur Miller. And one of the playwrights who vanished from our stages, who was a tremendously big name in the 30s and 40s, was Robert Sherwood, the guy who is he's now only remembered for having written the screenplay for The Best Years of Our Lives. But he wrote some of the biggest stage hits of that period. Most of them were turned into very popular Hollywood movies.
I think he won 3 Pulitzer Prizes.
I think so. And none of them get revived now. The last time there has been any Sherwood revival on Broadway was 1993. So when the Berkshire Theater Festival up in Stockbridge announced that it was going to do The Petrified Forest, which is a 1935 play, I knew that I had to see it. It was filmed. It was filmed famously. It is the show that made Humphrey Bogart a famous gangster. And I was quite curious. The movie is very good, actually. And I wondered, is it going to work on stage? Will it feel dated? How does it function? So they got David Auburn, the author of Proof, to direct it. They put some serious money into the design. The show is set in a rundown diner somewhere in the desert of Arizona. They got a really first-class cast, and the show works. It doesn't just work in spite of itself. It just doesn't just work as a period piece. It is a completely successful stage melodrama. One that, if it had a smaller cast, I think would continue to be done. That's been the problem with a lot of American plays of the 30s and 40s. They just take too many people. The original Broadway production of The Petrified Forest had 21 actors. This production did some doubling and got rid of some onstage extras. They pulled it down to 13. But that's still a big cast for Broadway or for any regional theater. But I tell you, this play works. This production works. And as I watched it, I thought, this is Lincoln Center Theater material. Just like they did with Clifford Odets's Golden Boy, that really remarkable revival. They're in a position to put a large-scale show on stage with a big cast. And they're the ones who did Sherwood's Abe Lincoln in Illinois back in 1993. And I would really like to see somebody from Lincoln Center Theater go up to the Berkshires and get a look at this show, because I think there's something there for them. I really do. I loved every minute of it, and I just can't recommend it strongly enough. Yeah,
he is one of those playwrights that we've sort of dropped completely out of the conversation. It's really curious to me that why Sherwood? I mean, he has 3 Pulitzers for drama and 1 for biography, our informative producer Kirby Pate tells me.
That's right. I mean, what happened to Sherwood's career was that he went to work for FDR as a speechwriter in 1941, I think. And by the time he got back from the war, the stage had changed and priorities had changed. He never had another hit after he came back. And now his plays are forgotten. It's like the only playwright we really remember from the 30s and 40s is George S. Kaufman. Our theater in this country was much more interesting than we give it any credit for being in the pre-war era. And if you want to get a taste of why it was and why we should be thinking about it and producing these shows, go see Sherwood's The Petrified Forest up at Berkshire Theater Festival. It's worth the trip.